Now I look back and I'm like, well, I don't need a backup. There is no backup plan. I'm doing the thing that I'm supposed to do the most in the world. And so that's the solution for the problem I thought I was in. And as I got going down this, and I started really leaning into my message and the things that I was doing, I realized that nothing is more important to me than getting this message into the world. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to Morning Coffee. I'm Rick Alexander, and I'm still doing the morning coffee thing every single day. For you guys that remember, I don't know how many people started out OG with the morning coffee movement, but it was, I was going to do it for 90 days. And then at the end of 90 days, I was like, okay, I'm going to assess this and see how it's going. And mostly because I hit a point with the Lionheart radio show that I was like looking for something else. Like I felt like I had grown in that way. And the interviews were great and I was learning so much, but I was also getting a point where it was starting to become autopilot. And anytime that happens in my life, I don't like it because awareness is what separates the human from everything else. And so if you start finding that you're going through stuff unconsciously, at least for me, it rubs me the wrong way because I feel like I'm not taking advantage of the human experience and what we're here for. And so I decided to launch the Morning Coffee podcast. And I said, I'm going to do it for 90 days. And if it does okay, then I'll keep doing it. And of course it did better than okay, at least contextually for me. And so it really launched this new phase of my development and growth. And it's been everything that I've wanted it to be. And so I just thank you all for continuing to tune in and join me. The best is still yet to come. And that's something I believe. People often ask me, how do you do podcasts every single day? Like, are you afraid you're going to run out of content? And the answer is no, because the universe is infinitely complex, infinitely deep, and so aren't you. And so the chances of me running out of content are zero. My job is to continue to find it, to continue to seek, continue to find the answers that will help us make sense of this human experience. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. So I've sort of opened up a lot of area of exploration in my own life just by having done this show. Like yesterday, we talked about fear a little bit. Fear is something I've been digging into a ton, reading a ton of research on, trying to figure out in my own life, like how the hell is fear so controlling of me? And so that's what I got yesterday. Well, today what I want to talk about is the problems in your life. And so first thing that I think we need to do is you just need to think about what are the problems in your life? Like just think of a main problem, for example. Think of one. Think of something you've been battling with, that you've been struggling with, that you seem to feel stuck in the middle of. That's the key, right? It's like, so if a problem persists, a rule in my own life is if a problem persists for 90 days, then I've got to figure it out. Like, so for example, if I'm trying to do something like get a certain growth in my business or in my life or something, and 90 days go by and I'm earnestly trying and nothing has been done, like I haven't actually made progress in that area, well, then I add outside structure. I hire a coach, or I get rid of the problem, or I figure something else out, because to be stuck for more than 90 days is just insane to me. Like life is too short. We got to figure it out. We got to keep moving here. You can be really paralyzed by indecision if you don't find your way outside of a problem set. And so that's why the first part of today, it's important that you identify and visualize a problem in your own life. And so what I want to talk about today is a lesson that I've actually learned from Jordan Peterson. And it's something he said, but it kind of gets like lost in his main message. So for people that listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson, you're familiar with a lot of the stuff he talks about, like adopting responsibility and seeking truth and not lying and basic things that will really change your life if you can understand them and grasp them. But there's something else I've learned from him that has changed my life in really extreme ways. And so it's something that I wanted to share with you. And that thing is, if you can define the problem in the correct way, you're actually a fair bit into solving it. And so I want to give you an example in my own life where that's played out. And then I want you to think about in your own life, where might you actually just be phrasing the problem incorrectly? And that's most likely what's actually happening, right? So if you have a problem and you seem to be stuck in the middle of it, it might be that the problem's not actually the problem. And so if you can reframe the problem, you're actually going to get a whole new set of solutions, a whole new offering of things. And so here's an example. So getting out of the military, I really wanted to go, and I talk about this a lot, but I really wanted to do the podcast and the write and the content creation and the coaching. I just felt like I had something to say for the world. And I'm like, I really want to do that. But there was mounting pressure to go take a job. For me, it was a State Department offer that I had and a couple other smaller ones and at smaller companies. And so I was like stuck in the middle. And one of the things I figured out in my own life is if you're stuck between two solutions that that you could go, like two paths that you could go, or if you're stuck looking at the solution of a problem that you're in and you're in indecision, then deep down what's probably true is that you don't actually want either of the options presented or any of the options presented. And that's how I felt about looking at the different jobs getting out of the military. It's like, I get it, the benefits, the 401k, the things you're saying should matter to me. I understand that. I see what's on paper. But for me, I had such trouble making the call because, well, I was stuck in indecision because deep down I didn't want either. Now, the way that I changed this in my life was by reframing the problem set. See, getting out of the military, the problem I thought I was dealing with is how do I keep myself alive? How do I keep the quality of life that I'm used to currently, right? And that's what I was afraid of. I was like, well, what if I go broke? What if I don't have somewhere to live? What if this? What if that? It's like, okay, so that's the problem, right? Maybe. As I thought about what are my solutions to that problem so that I can still continue to do the thing that I want to do in the world, the solution is, well, I'm somewhat employable. Like I have a good resume. I've got a secret clearance. There are certain things that I could do. And I could always choose to go and take another job if what I'm trying to do doesn't actually work out, right? And so that's the solution for the problem I thought I was in. And as I got going down this and I started really leaning into my message and the things that I was doing, I realized that nothing is more important to me than getting this message into the world. And I've said that before because if something was more important to me, then that's what I would focus on, right? So I'm doing the thing that I think is the most important thing that I could possibly be doing with my time in the world. Now, as I lean into that, what I understand is the problem I'm dealing with is how do I get this message to the right amount of people? And so that's why I experiment with the different podcast forms. That's why I'm writing many books. That's why I give the talks and I have the workshops and I have the Clarity Academy. Because the problem is I've got information that I know can change your life. Now I have to convey it in a way that you understand it so that you can go change your own life because I can't do that for you. And so the problem for me is about insight. It's about how do I offer the correct insight that's going to allow you to change your life, not how do I keep myself alive. So what I found is by reframing the problem that I'm dealing with in the first place, which is how do I get my message, my vision, and my mission out to the world, I no longer am concerned with how I might get a 401k or pay my bills or anything like that. Now, at first, there's some give and take, right? Because as soon as I started in this company, it's like I wasn't paying all of my bills right out of the gate. It was like there was some time and some learning and some growth that had to take place. But as I leaned into it, I realized the problem wasn't actually the problem. See, I don't need to worry about that stuff. I need to worry about getting my mission out into the world. And by me doing that and being super committed to solving that problem, and that's the important part. I'm super committed to solving that problem, which means I will leave no rock unturned. I will explore all of the possible options for me to do that because that's the problem I'm solving. But in me doing that, I no longer had to worry about what I thought the problem was. So me rationalizing and justifying my life behaviors and the things I was going to do with my life was really a matter of looking at the problem incorrectly, because now I look back and I'm like, well, I don't need a backup. There is no backup plan. I'm doing the thing that I'm supposed to do the most in the world. That's the problem that I need to be solving. And so perhaps in your life, there's a problem. Maybe you're stuck in it right now and you're trying to think, well, what the hell do I do here? Well, maybe you don't want any of the solution presented. And maybe what you really need to do is reframe the problem so it's more conducive. So it has a new set of solutions. See, because if you can frame the problem correctly, you're a good bit into answering it. And that's what I found. So by reframing my problem, I was way further into answering it. And I was no longer at the behest of like hoping that I had the right opportunities. It's like, no, this is an offensive move. I need a new problem that puts me in offense, not defense. And so don't you. Because if you really want to do something in this life, it requires a bit of an offensive position, right? You've got to have a creative mindset because you've got to create what it is that you want, the opportunities, especially now. Now that the 9-to-5, like the traditional do your time, become partner, get the gold watch model is dying in a lot of companies. It's now a creative problem on how you're going to spend your time with this life. And so work on reframing the problem so that you can get a better solution. If you're trying to solve for the wrong problem, you'll spend your entire life with the wrong solution. And you'll wonder why none of it feels right. Well, that's why you're solving for the wrong problem. That's at least been my take. But I love you guys. We'll talk tomorrow on Morning Coffee.
drinking a German beer with a Cuban cigar. In the middle of Paris with a Dominican bar. Great head on her shoulder, she probably studied abroad. She transferred to Harvard from King's College in March. She says that I'm her favorite cause she admires the art. Michelangelo with the flow, Picasso with the bar. She's well put together like a piece by Gershwin. Renaissance style, tonight is picture perfect. So smile and pack your bags real good, baby, cause you'll be gone for a while. Wow, wow. Girl, tell me how you feel. What's your fantasy, yo? I see it's on the beach down in Mexico. You can put your feet up, be my senorita. We ain't gotta rush, just take it slow. You'll be in the highlight, soaking up the sunlight. Anything you want, it's yours. I'll have you living life like you should. You say you never had it so good. First class cabin fever, 5-hour layovers from Norway to Egypt. I'm to the point like the pyramids of Giza. Still I'm to the left like the tower out in Pisa. I'm feeling single, baby, I could use a feature. Swagger like Caesar, I'll get you a visa. We can go to Italy and maybe see the Colosseum. I'll be Da Vinci if you be my Mona Lisa and I smile. So pack your bags real good, baby, cause you'll be gone for a while. Girl, tell me how you feel. What's your fantasy, yo? I see it's on the beach down in Mexico. You can put your feet up, be my senorita. We ain't gotta rush, just take it slow. You'll be in the highlight, soaking up the sunlight. Anything you want, it's yours. I'll have you living life like you should. You say you never had it so good. Make it plural, spin the globe, wherever it lands, that's where we'll go. We'll hit up Europe, yeah, and spend some euros. Or maybe visit Berlin, the walls with the murals. This is your month, baby, sign of the Virgo. Private reservations, glasses full of Merlot. A rosé, a burgundy, traveling like turbo. Brush up on your Espanol, we're Barcelona bound, so smile. So pack your bags real good, baby, cause you'll be gone for a while. Wow, wow.